Have you been told to be the main character in your life and then also have had advice to let go and release because it's not about you? Let's talk about the differences between the two. So you are absolutely the main character in your life. You are the one that creates your own reality because of the way that you perceive, view, and look at your mental and your emotional states and what is going on at any time in your life. What you decide to be is. What you decide to believe that is true, no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. That is how you create your reality. That is how you are the co-creator with spirit, with the environment, and how you're moving through. There are going to be things that come towards you that don't always work out the way we think they are because we've put expectations on what we think is supposed to happen. And that's the faultiness of us when we create our realities. We think that, oh, because I want this, it's supposed to happen in this way or that way. And sometimes we get it right, and sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes we think that we know what's going to happen, and sometimes we have to take what came towards us, know that it's not going to happen the way we thought, or it's not going to last as long as we thought it was going to last because something better is coming. Something always better is coming if it doesn't work out. And so that is the part of the releasing and letting go because we do have a vision. We will be able to create the things that we do want in our life. And if we're able to allow what comes towards us, even if it's for a season or a small amount of time, and know that that was just perfect enough the way it was, and that it didn't work out the way we expected it to, and we need to let go of the expectation. That's really what releasing is. Part of it is letting go of the expectation, allowing what is to be, accepting what is to be, accepting humans for who they are and situations for what they are, and allowing the release. Something new comes in because we've created space for it. And a lot of times we have a hard time letting go because we had put so much faith, so much expectation, so much emphasis on having it come out a very specific way. And that's the part that we have to be okay with. When you're creating, designing, planning, building, it's not always going to be exactly the way you think it's going to be. It can be pretty close. It can even be better than you thought it was going to be. And in any time you create any kind of project, you know firsthand that it sometimes turns out a little different. There are hiccups, there are pivots, there are obstacles. Doesn't mean that what you do get is worse or wrong or less than. It's just different. And a lot of times we accept that we can do things better, that things didn't work out the way we thought, the way we expected, because they turn out better. But that's a perspective that you have to have if you so choose. And that's also another piece of being the main character. How do you want to be the hero in your story? How do you want to play this game and this role and what comes towards you? Is everything going to be an issue, or do we look at this as an opportunity to grow, develop, maneuver, expand ourselves, widen our perspective, widen our knowledge of what it is that we can do and move forward with it? And it's a really great place to be when you realize that that alone, that decision making of what I get to decide and how I get to view this, even if someone's acting awful in front of you, even if someone is really mean, even if somebody is non-existent, it doesn't matter what the other person is doing or what the situation is. The fact that you get to view it however you want is a pretty miraculous thing. To know that that is where the power lies, in that specificness of I can take this really awful situation that looks awful at face value and peer back and look to see where is the actual silver lining underneath that. Where is the space that this is now working out for me? If I have the mantra, which I do like to have, that this is all working out for me, all of it is working out for me, I will find a better solution right around the corner. I'm programming my mind to look for solutions. I'm programming my mind and my reality to make sure that I'm getting what I need. And if what came towards me only needed to last for a moment so that I could get a bit of information to move to the next thing, so be it. I've learned the hard way, because apparently that's how I like to learn, that holding on to things never served me. It actually caused a lot of suffering, a lot of unnecessary pain, and it held me back way more than I needed to. And that was the hard lesson of realizing I held myself back because I wanted to stay and wallow in the pain, thinking that something was supposed to be for me. When in fact, it was just supposed to be for a moment. It was a lesson I needed to learn. And not that it's I hate to say it that way, because like it sounds like, oh, you got to learn a lesson, but there's a sense of I had to understand a little bit more about myself. I had to do a little bit more investigative work. I had to really understand my own self-worth and value so that I don't get into those situations anymore. And most of those usually tend to be more romantic relationships because that's where you're the most intimate and that's where you're meeting somebody at a level that most people don't see. So there's an opportunity to be able to expose more vulnerabilities so that you can really uncover your true nature and learn from that. And just know that it's a opportunity to discern between what's really going to be best for you and what needs to leave your life. And knowing that if I'm holding the vision of I still want something really wonderful in all areas of my life, and if the thing in front of me keeps disappearing or it's not quite working out, I can start to see where I need to pivot, or I can start to see where things are working and what it is that I need to do so that I can make sure that I'm always in alignment with what it is that my vision is for my life and what I desire. And maybe be open to something new that I hadn't thought of before, new experiences that I'd like to have. Because once you hit certain goals and certain milestones, there's going to be new things on the horizon. But we have to be able to release and let go and move forward and not hold on to any expectations. The only thing I want to expect is that I show up for myself and I show up the best version of me at any given moment and do the best that I can. That's the only expectation I have, is that I'm going to just play to win the game of life. And if I think about life in how is this only going to be my success? I only want to see the successful outcome. I only want to see how this is going to make me win and be successful, abundant. Then I'm always going to look for solutions to make sure that that happens, no matter what goes on, no matter what is in front. It happened in 2020 when COVID hit. I got furloughed for 11 months, no paycheck. I had a little bit of substance from the government, but it kind of came in and out. It wasn't really that great. I quickly flipped that mentality and I looked at that time and not knowing it was going to be 11 months, but just looked at that time as I'm going to look at this as a sabbatical. And it only took me a couple weeks to really double down on that. And I looked at that as this is time, this is a gift of time that I'm going to give myself to study, to work on projects, to develop a business, to develop things that I have been wanting to do for years. I now have the room to do it. And so instead of wasting time and worrying about anything, I took that time and I made the best use of it possible. So when I got out of that, when we started to get back in, when I started to move back into the next phase of life, I had this huge, huge repertoire. I had this huge surplus of resources that I had been building and cultivating over that time period. None of that time was lost. And I had faith, I had trust that something will come. I just stay aware and attentive, and I make sure that I use my time as wisely as possible. So we can always look for solutions. We can always make sure that our mind is set on what is the most successful outcome for me. And if we can live like this, if we can live in this main character energy where it's always about what is going to be the most successful for me, how do I make this the most optimal experience for me? How is this all working out for me? I'm going to find a solution. I'm going to take an obstacle and figure out how to turn it into an opportunity, how to go about and pivot and maneuver quite quickly. I don't have to lament or get upset over anything because that just is a waste of time. And my friends, it works. It really works. I know people that use this as well. I would say try this on as best as possible to know that you can be the main character of your life. It is easy to let go of any expectations except the one that you are going to win, you are going to be successful, and that everything is working out for you. Everything else, and that you show up, 100% in your life, no matter what. And you do the best that you can at the moment that you have with the resources that you have. And it might be a little bit of a bumpy road, but it will still work out well and work to your advantage because you believe so. Try it on. Let me know what you think. Let me know how it goes. Share your successes and your wins. And if it's not there yet, just know it's on its way. It's coming. No problem. It's all working out. It is. I love you all. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.